Flooding, drought, and wildfire. More extremes, more often.
You can't deny what we're seeing right now.
We're basically setting ourselves up for a worldwide catastrophe. And it's going to come to fruition in our children and our grandchildren's lifetimes.
And time is running out.
So in terms of where the clock is, I think we have a decade left.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Chief Meteorologist Braden Long.
And I'm meteorologist Danielle Miller. We've heard about climate change for decades, but after hotter summers, warmer winters, and stronger, more destructive storms, it isn't going away.
Just 2 decades ago, 2 out of 3 Americans agreed that climate change was a concern across party lines. But it remains a hot-button political issue across the country and here at home in South Central Pennsylvania. In the next half hour, we're going to show you how long scientists have known about climate change, what is keeping us from moving forward on it more quickly, and how you at home right now can help slow it down.
We begin our story at a divide. Like the changing levels of the Susquehanna River, belief in climate change seemingly ebbs and flows in its brief history. And even among those who believe, a divide about what caused it or what to do about it.
Because we have real serious decisions to make. And until we understand the nature of what's happening in our backyard as a result of global climate change, we're not going to be very capable of making the best possible decisions.
Dr. Edward Maybeck is a public health communication specialist at George Mason University. He now focuses on crisis communication for climate change because our warming climate is now a public health issue.
Our skin in the game is quite literally our skin.
But first, a history lesson.
Legend has it that NASA climate scientist James Hansen testified in front of Congress on a sweltering DC July day in the summer or July of 1988, I believe it was, and he issued a very clear warning that human-caused climate change is a reality, and that it is going to create problems of cataclysmic dimensions unless we do something about it.
At the time, testifying in front of a committee meant captivating a large audience. Scientists thought that should have been enough.
As scientists, our job is to understand the world, to do research to help understand the world better. We don't necessarily think of our job as to figure out what to do about how to fix problems that our science reveals. The fact that there was a clear wake-up call issued in the summer of '88 was helpful, but not sufficient.
In 1997, then Vice President Al Gore traveled to Japan to negotiate the Kyoto Protocol, committing the U.S. to reducing greenhouse gas emissions.
The interesting thing about the late 90s is there was no difference between the way conservative Americans and liberal Americans thought about the issue. They saw it as a distant problem. Distant in time, like maybe 2100 or maybe even 2075, but not 2010. Distant in space, sub-Saharan Africa, sure. You know, my community, nah. And distant in species.
But in the early 2000s, partisan divides became deeper. Rhetoric became more divisive.
The next big wake-up call was issued in 2006 when An Inconvenient Truth came out. And it was a very clear signal. It got a lot of attention. It had an inconvenient truth. The inconvenient truth had an inconvenient truth to it, and that was it was an idea, a warning brought to us by a Democratic politician.
Since then, we've seen interest and support for climate change rise and fall, depending on who is in office.
America not only recognizes our role in creating this problem, we embrace our responsibility to do something about it.
It'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
Hey, well, I don't think science knows.
During the Obama years, there was a fairly sharp increase in public concern. During the Trump years, there was a bit of a decrease in public concern, especially among conservatives.